Blast me to Scythos! It's time for the Mad Merlin's Warhammer 40,000 Imperium journey. Episode 32, Part 1, Lore and Build Guide. Hello and welcome back to the Mad Merlin's Imperium journey. I will first off say, if I sound a bit congested, that's because my body has decided it's allergic to Wraithbone spray, and I've been using a lot of that to prime up some scenery for my Get Started series. And there's still components sat on my desk, and the fumes are constantly irritating my eyes and nose. But I'm going to try and do my best to push through the pain of allergy season and bring you more mad content. So, moving on with Imperium issue 32. So, this is the first of our 3 Kataphron Destroyers servitors. So that's our frame, and we also get a nice large 60mm base. So, imagine the amount of detail you could put onto that if you had the skill to do so. I could possibly make put some vox and rubble on there. That could look quite nice. Maybe have him trundling over a piece of fallen building, or even a rocky outcrop, and have a traitor hiding down there, perhaps, or part of a destroyed Necron. But yeah, could do some amazing stuff with large bases. So, that's our frame. We'll get a closer look at that in a minute. And here we have our magazine. So, we get 1 miniature. We learn about the Kataphron Destroyer with our battle record. We read about humanity's past. And we have rules for our Adeptus Mechanicus units. So, I will cover those as usual in my playthrough guide. But basically, we get the Adeptus Mechanicus core rules section for their battle traits. So let's go vertical and we'll see what we got. So here we have our first battle servitor of the Kataphron Destroyer unit that we are going to get with the Imperium collection. I have already got 2 of these, thanks to ordering from Forbidden Planet, and I've built one up as a breacher and one as a destroyer, just to see how the kit goes together before I build up these for my collection. But all in all, I think it's a really good kit, full of some nice optional extras that you can use on various other Adeptus Mechanicus units, and even other Imperial units. You usually give a Iron Hand Space Marine a giant claw arm and count it as a power fist. And you got some extra armor panels here, which are for the breachers. So you won't be using these on your destroyers, but if you'd like to, they are nice and add a little bit of artistic flair to your model, as do these side panels here. They really do help flesh the model out a whole lot more, in my opinion. But you do have some lovely detail on those tracks there. Loads of pistons and gears and all sorts. So we got the back of our torso there, the plasma cannon fuel cells. So you get 3 on this frame, and I believe there's another 3 on another frame. We also get, exclusive to this frame, is component 13, which goes on to the, where is it? There. The front of the undercarriage. So it's basically some tow cable hooks positions. We got his power pack here. And he has the choice of either the plasma or the heavy grav there. If you're building and on his opposite arm, he'll have either the heavy stubber or the flamer there. If you do decide to build him up as a breacher, you have the choice of the arc claw, the power claw, and the arc rifle, and the torsion cannon. And you also have different gun undersides for the Breacher and the Destroyer, as the fitting is slightly different. I believe we use the bigger one here for the arc gun, and the smaller one that we actually use on the instructions for the plasma. And then you've got two different cables that go from the guns to the back of the servitor as well. As I said, the extra armor plates that are used for the Breacher can just be used if you like to add a little bit more extra reinforced armor to your servitor. But all in all, it's a lovely kit, loads of spare detail like I said. And can be made to be quite posable. So we have a separate fitting here where the actual servitor part goes in onto the track mount. So you can have him posed in different directions, seeking out foes, etc. And really, it's just a nice fun kit. So there's that. And here's another look at that lovely 60mm base. I remember back in the day when base sizes didn't really matter, I used to oversize the base on a lot of my characters. I'd usually put a character that's meant to be on a 25mm on a 40 or even a 50mm and give a nice scenic detail base to him. But nowadays, base sizes are kind of important to make sure to avoid any cheating in tournament play. So, if you're collecting for yourself, feel free to use a nice large base for this for your Primaris captain and having loads of dead enemies around him. But onwards to our magazine. Just go a bit. I won't be building the Destroyer on camera, as he's a quite in-depth kit, but we'll have a quick flick through his build guide. So, first off, we have, if I can open it, our contents page. So, battle record for our Kataphron Destroyers. So this will be the record for the whole unit of 3. We learned about the Ancient and Arcane of the Adeptus Mechanicus, and we have the Legacy of Strife for our Imperium background. Building and painting our Destroyer. Then we have the Canticles of the Omnissiah rules, Kataphron Destroyers datasheet, and the Overlord's Advance for our mission. So, like I said, those will be covered in the battle video. So here's our Kataphron Destroyer battle record. So Kataphron Destroyers are battle servitors armed with an array of heavy weapons. With the aid of these machines, an Adeptus Mechanicus tech priest can take on enemy vehicles, alien monsters, and fortified positions without risking his Skitarii in a direct assault. So we go into detail about the different weapons that the servitor has. So we've got the Plasma Culverin, his Trax, and his Cognis Flamer. Other weapons are the heavy grav cannons and the phosphor blast guns. So here we are. My mana pool is the Martian Dreadfalls. So we just got a D3 table for each of our different titles here. So your mana pool name goes here, Martian Dreadfalls. Our cohort is the Xenos Purgatus. So very apt. We're going to be eliminating a lot of Xenos, hopefully. And my Macrolade name is the Fury of Mars. I got a manifold sigil there that I'm going to have to figure out what I'm going to do. I've got quite a lot of those to do. I've got the Necron ones to sort out as well. So my Kataphron Destroyers have all been named individually. So you use your background 1 chart and you roll a D66 for the first part and a D66 for the second part of the name. So I have Zoo 668.2 as one destroyer. I got Cygex 1010 as another destroyer, and Sec MXV as my third destroyer. So, and you can see there we get different faces, and they should all be interchangeable between the different models, I believe, so you could easily probably swap a few components if you wanted. So the Ancient and the Arcane list details a bit about the tech priests and their different, some of the different warriors under their control. So the tech priests' strange rites,
biomechanical servants and ability to operate incomprehensible devices make them figures of awe and fear across the most of the Imperium. So we've got servitors here, which are basically mostly criminals or people deemed to be heretics. They have their brain wiped and are basically tooled up with servitor weapons and guns for basically repair jobs and security duty. The Electro Priests, we have here the Corpuscori. There's also the Fulgurites, which are my favourites of the priests. They wield double-ended staves, which I think look a lot better than having these guys with the giant cables trailing around the back of them. Yeah, I definitely like the Fulgurites over the Corpuscori. We then have the Onega Doom Crawlers and the Iron Strider engines. So some of the various different tanks and walkers that the Adeptus Mechanicus have. The Doom Crawler happens to be both a tank and a walker. And the Iron Striders are pretty much a sort of resemblance of a large cavalry type unit. Two giant legs striding across with a turret on top. Pretty cool. The only thing I don't like about them is the half servitor you get at the front. That's kind of creepy to me, even though the entirety of 40k is kind of creepy. But yeah, these are still quite a cool unit. You can also build them up either as the Barastari, which are pictured here, or the Dragoons who have hunting lances. And our last piece of lore is the legacy of strife. So, mankind survived the ravages of the Age of Strife in fragmented and desperate fashion, emerging from its shadow and into the Emperor's light as a species much changed. So this goes through and starts to break down what happened to humanity after the Age of Strife and into the Age of the Emperor. So basically mankind came out twisted. What used to be, they used to think as great advancements were now deemed heretical. So things such as the advent of the psychogene, the Imperium has started to disregard psychers as mostly heretics and mutants. They will, of course, use certain psychers, such as the Navis Nobilitae, who help the craft of the Imperium travel through the warp. And then we have, of course, the hatred of Xenos. Humanity used to have good partnerships with some Xenos races, who helped them evolve a bit more. But ever since that, the Age of Strife, they have had a great deep hatred for anything that is not human. So onto our build guide. So we have our frame, which we've already looked at, and a reminder to keep those bits because you need them for your other two servitors. So just cut out around the frame once you finish building your model and put them in a box. So we build our servitor in 2 stages. We build the actual track bed here, which is just 3 components, another component going in there, and the engine, and you're done. And then we build the actual servitor on top. So we have the main servitor attachment there, the servitor's actual torso goes in there, his power pack goes on behind. Then here is where we build specifically for the destroyer. So we have this particular head that goes on and this ball joint socket, which attaches the flamer with a little servo arm. If you want to build the destroyer as a breacher, you leave off these 2 components, you put on the alternate head that isn't that one, and you attach one of the claw arms and put the shoulder pad over the top. You then also attach, obviously, your different gun over this side. And you have 1 piece of armor that goes on the front here, and I believe another piece that goes sort of over the chest area to help protect him better. But there we go. Then on to our weapon assembly. So we glue the two halves of our main gun together. The actual gun socket attaches to the arm. What I do suggest is to glue these pieces together, let them dry, then glue that on first, and then put your gun over the top. I found that much easier. It saves you having to try and line up where the gun goes. There is a little notch on the inside of this semicircle here that fits to a tab on the underside of the actual pivot there, and the gun should fit into place. Yeah, it's not going to show up very easily, but just on the inside there, if we can see it. Can I see it? Yeah, just about there. You can see a slight dent there. That's where it goes in. And as I won't be painting the servitor, let's have a look at how to paint them. This is actually a pretty good paint guide. I've done both mine using this method. So we start by a good base of lead belcher. I of course use the spray. We then pick out the blue on the lenses and the plasma, red on the armor panels. It might be a good idea to paint these red first and then reapply the blue over the top. Then we paint the casing of the gun, the track bed itself. You will probably need to tidy up some of the silver areas, so keep your pot of lead belcher close by. Once your red's dry, you can easily tidy up afterwards. After that, we wash the entire model with Nuln Oil. We paint the underside of the track itself with Rakoff Flesh. Mornfang Brown on the exposed straps over his shoulder there. Then Runelord Brass on the trim and on the weapon and exhaust vents. Then those new areas get coated with a wash of Agrax Earthshade. Before we start picking out the black details like the cables, the Cog Mechanicus symbols, and the undersuit with Abaddon Black, as well as the plasma gun case, plasma caliber casing, culverin even. Picking out the flesh with Coax White and the other half of the Cog Mechanicus symbol. And then we use a thinned down Nuln Oil to shade the white areas. And that's what your servitor should look like once finished. So that's everything for issue 32. We'll come back with the mission once I've got this guy built and painted. So that's all for now. All that's left for me to do is to thank you for watching. Be sure to like, comment, share and subscribe. Also, if you'd like to help the channel out, there's of course my affiliate links, Buy Me a Coffee channel, and all my other social medias. So, I'll see you next time then for some more mad content. Goodbye.